What's up, everybody? This is Scott from LoveHUNTER.com, and it's time for another edition of Hard and Heavy 70s. This year is going to be 1979, and we have a list of 20 or so records that we're going to be showing in somewhat of an order. At least our top 5 is actually our top 5, and I'd like to introduce Trog, and we're actually doing this video from the house of Trog, or the cave of Trog. And
how many years ago was 1979?
I don't know.
1980 was okay, 2020, 35 years ago.
So, just a little older than me. So anyhow, yeah, 1979. 1978 was the year that most of the magazines were claiming that, heavy metal had died, heavy metal was dead, and disco was the rage, and punk.
Which magazines said that?
Circus and Cream. I actually have some of those magazines where they were saying, can heavy metal survive the 70s? Can actually, there's a big cover of one with Ted Nugent on the front of it saying, can metal survive the 80s? And,
wow.
We
had the advent of punk, and we had new wave was huge
starting,
by 79.
and then you also had disco, which was gigantic at the time. And disco was one of the things that was killing, what they were claiming was killing metal. Of course, what was really happening was by 1979, we had a whole new wave of metal coming in, especially in Europe. So you had the new wave of British heavy metal movement going on, and you had bands like Jaguar and Venom and Satan, and who else formed in 79?
Diamond Head,
Grim Reaper, Diamond Head.
Pantang.
All these bands were forming in 1979. And then you also had guys like Iron Maiden, who had released their SOUNDHOUSE tapes EP. Of course, this is a rarity. It's not something that's real hugely popular, but this was like a hugely influential record for that time. Mm-hmm. And then also another band who claims they were never heavy metal, but were, Def Leppard released the Def Leppard EP that same year, 1979.
Pretty cool. I like it.
I mean, they're both great records.
My favorite Def Leppard was everything pre-Pyromania, basically.
Yeah, me too.
Even pre On Through the Night.
Yeah, and I love On Through the Night, but that's really where I think they went in a downward spiral. But I digress. So yeah, these two albums came out that year. But 79 was definitely an important year for metal. So we're gonna get right into it, into our top 20. And
you go first.
I'm gonna go first, and you have to excuse me, I'm out of frame, but
I'm here.
Yeah. So the first one is the only one that we don't have on vinyl. Is Samson.
Another new wave of British heavy metal.
Yep,
band.
Survivors, featuring Bruce.
Bruce, that's right. Bruce Dick.
So yeah, Bruce Dickinson was the vocalist for this band. Of course, Bruce would end up in Iron Maiden, become one of the biggest singers, most well-known singers on the planet. Yep. Iron Maiden are still one of the biggest bands today, but this is actually a fantastic album.
My favorite Bruce cut is still Mission from Harry.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyhow, so this is not as heavy as Maiden, especially during that time, because Maiden was really heavy in those early years. But it's still a great album, solid guitar playing, a lot of great riffs.
In fact, I think Paul Samson recently died.
Paul Samson did die a few years ago,
right, which sucks.
It does suck. Anyhow, so there you go, number 20. And then number 19, we'll just keep going with this pile here. Molly Hatchet, Flirt with Disaster, probably their most popular album. Even today, the song "Flirt with Disaster" is still on the radio today.
And the cover is the bomb.
The cover is awesome. Frank Frazetta.
Yeah. Which is... I cannot remember the title of that one. Like the first album cover, it was Death Dealer.
The Death Dealer, yeah.
Beating the Odds was Berserker. And that one has a name too, but I can't remember.
I can't remember it either. But yeah, it's classic cover, classic record. And it's a really heavy record too.
Yep.
Despite being Southern rock. Dave Flubeck once said that Molly Hatchet were the first band to mix Southern rock with heavy metal. I don't know if that's true because Blackfoot did the same thing, but they definitely were that mixture of.
I mean, Skinner got pretty heavy in places too.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, Hatchet definitely had more of an edge.
So yeah, but I mean, it's just not one song on this album. There's a ton of great material on here.
Yep.
So
my turn.
Your turn.
All right. I guess this is what, number 18.
Yep.
We've got Rainbow, Down to Earth,
which is the first Graham Bonnet record, right?
Yes,
or the only one.
Only
Graham
Bonnet
record.
And it also is, definitely not the first to feature a rainbow in the artwork. For some reason. So yeah, Graham Bonnet was on here. All Night Long, Since You've Been Gone, those are the two big hits. I like Graham Bonner's voice.
I think Graham Bonner's got a great voice.
As a singer, it's a little painful to listen to because, like, how the hell does he do it that way? But still, I think every era of Rainbow put out really cool stuff, and they were still the same band. Certainly not with Ronnie, but.
Yeah, and I loved the Dio stuff the best, but
yep.
that stuff was good too.
But the first stuff I ever heard was the Jolene Turner stuff, so that's
definitely more commercial than the Dio stuff, but good stuff nonetheless.
Yeah, and Since You've Been Gone is a Russ Ballard song.
Yep.
He's written tons of hits, and that didn't stop there. So.
All right, and then we got Nazareth, No Mean City, one of their heavier records, and definitely one of their coolest record covers. And the what's the guy's name who did this?
Rodney Matthews.
That's it, Rodney Matthews. And Rodney did stuff for
Diamond Head, Praying Mantis, Magnum,
Seventh Asia, Detritus.
Lots of stuff.
He did the White Metal Warriors compilation. He's done tons and tons of album
awesome
covers.
Artist.
But I believe this was actually the very first album cover he had released, which would have been 1979. Okay. So great
and he
songs.
Was doing fantasy art and posters long before that. Great artist.
Yeah. And then this album definitely has some stuff that I wouldn't call pure heavy metal. There's like, May the Sunshine has kind of that folky sound to it, but Nazareth never were pure heavy metal. They were always a mixture of sounds.
Yep, it was the 70s.
Yep, great stuff.
All right, what's this, 16?
Something like that.
A little bit off the beaten track. We've got Rainbow's End by Resurrection Band, featuring Mr. Glenn Kaiser. Came out of the Japusa community in Chicago. Chicago, right? To me, Resurrection Band, probably one of the best, if not the best, classic rock Christian bands.
Definitely, yeah.
The first two albums, Awaiting Your Reply, was the year before, and this one, first ones I ever heard, and I still dig them. Just got great material on it. My favorite cuts, Concert for a Queen is awesome. Used to play that for my wife way back. Strongman's cool. Afrikaans is definitely cool.
Awesome, yeah.
Paint a Picture is kind of a rip your heart out kind of ballad song. Every Time It Rains, it's a cool album. It's pretty neat. It's definitely off the beaten track from the other stuff we're presenting here, but it's good stuff. Yeah, it holds up pretty well.
Next up, no idea what number we're on. Doesn't really matter until we get to the top 5.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
15, maybe something like that.
Something like that.
Very first Accept album, the Chainsaw cover. This is definitely a different sound for Accept. It's not your Restless and Wild, Balls to the Wall kind of stuff. This is definitely more of a 70s sound. Udo didn't even find his real shrieking voice yet. No. But there's some great stuff on here. Lady Lou,
yeah, it's a cool album.
Street Fighter, Hell Driver.
It just wasn't cool when the first album you heard was Restless and Wild.
Exactly.
And you went looking for something else and you got this and then you freaked out because you were 15 and still a little bit.
Exactly. And that was amazing too. I mean, Restless and Wild was the first album I heard by them, and then I started going backwards and I discovered this one, and I didn't like it at first.
So it's definitely one that grows on you.
But it's the same thing with the Scorpions. I mean, I discovered the Scorpions, and then I started going back, and those first couple albums were like, and UFO.
And I think Lonesome Crow was the first Scorpions I checked out after like Blackout.
Yeah.
Like,
what? Same thing with UFO.
This cover gets mixed up with another one that used the same picture.
Yes.
I think it's a comp.
It's a compilation. I have that compilation. But I think the difference is that the background's green. So, anyhow.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right.
Except German heavy metal, definitely heavy metal, 70s heavy metal. Good stuff.
My turn?
Your turn.
All right, we got Blue Oyster Cult with Mirrors. This was the follow-up to Spectres, which created Godzilla and Golden Age of Leather. This one, a little bit more accessible, a little bit more commercial. The hit was In Thee, which is really a ballady, very kind of a soft love song kind of a thing. But still, there's good tracks on here. Dr. Music is on here. I'm the Storm. Pretty cool. Not one of their bigger albums, and not one of the ones that I would say just really got me off hardcore, but it's Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah,
I'll still take it over most of the bands of the era. Anyway.
I actually enjoy that record too because it's not overplayed.
No.
You know what I mean? Some of those albums, just how many times can you hear Godzilla? Although I still love that song.
Oh, yeah.
But don't fear the Reaper, you know?
But the classic lineup's on here. The Bushog Brothers and Alan Lanier and Buck Dharma and Eric Bloom. So you can't go wrong with that.
All right. One, you're going to be surprised it wasn't in my top 5, but we came up with this top 5 together.
I'm surprised too, actually.
And Ted Nugent, State of Shock. You guys watch my channel, you know I'm a hardcore Nugent fan. This is a great record. This is the follow-up to Double Live Gonzo.
Still, and the covers killer.
And the covers.
I love
great. I mean, now, I'm sorry, Weekend Warriors was the follow-up.
That's right.
This is the follow-up to Weekend Warriors. I'm off by one, so yeah. But Weekend Warriors had that killer cover too with the.
Well, it was a
Parker
series
and
of 3 kick-ass covers. It was Weekend Warriors, this one, and Scream Dream.
Scream Dream. Yeah.
I remember seeing them in department stores when I was a kid, going, "This guy's nuts."
Yeah.
And it's just cool. It's great artwork. You don't see artwork like this anymore.
But the big hit off this one was Paralyzed.
Oh, and that was my first favorite Nugent song. First Nugent song I ever heard was Paralyzed.
A ton of great material in here, though, and I
remember the Fridays TV show. It was a comedy show on Fridays.
Yes.
That's first time I saw Nugent. He played Paralyzed live. I was blown away. I went and blew all my paper route money the next day.
on the record?
Including the money I had to pay for the papers with. I found like 5 Nugent records downtown. I found Double Live Gonzo, this one, Weekend Warriors. It's just crazy.
It's a great record, though. Yeah, I mean, Satisfied, State of Shock, and of course, Paralyzed. That's just a great song. And he still plays that song live today.
For years, I was, because of that version I saw on Fridays, he didn't have a live version of Paralyzed available anywhere. First version I found was the one that came on that Live at Hammersmith 79 CD. Because I looked forever, like, where do I find the live Paralyzed? Never had one. And I recently found that performance from Fridays on YouTube.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I love Nugent. They should release some of that Friday stuff on vinyl or CD or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound quite as awesome as it did that night when I was like 12 when I heard it, but still. All right, 79. Okay, here's Blockbuster. Last album by Zeppelin. In the outer...
Into the Outdoor.
Yeah, Into the Outdoor and the outer grocery bag cover. I've got all 6. There were 6 different... Should I open it?
Yeah, open up and show the inner one. So, yeah, and Randy does. He has all 6 covers. I don't think I only have 2 of them. I'm not that... I love Zeppelin, but I'm just not a hardcore...
It took me a year to track down all 6. All right, so this cover, I can tell you which one it is. You can tell on the edge, it has the Matrix. Well, maybe not.
I thought it did. Anyhow.
It's got it somewhere here, and I just can't. It's got a letter. It's like A through A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah, there's 6 covers. So this is one of them. The artwork is really cool, and if you take some time and just sit and look at it, who does that anymore? I'm really going on about the artwork more than the albums, aren't I? I love the artwork. That's a big part of it. There's a swish that you see, and the rest of the album cover is like in the sepia tone, and in the swish, everything's in color, which is cool.
And then the inside sleeve was cool too, because
yes. It was.
You could.
And none of mine have been touched. It's like a watercolor thing, and if you spilled water on it, you found out it turns colors.
Yeah, where you just get a little paintbrush and paint in the colors.
So not only did I have to track down all 6 covers, I had to track down 6 of these that were not untouched by water. I loved Zeppelin when I was growing up.
I still love Zeppelin now.
And it's a great album.
It is, but it's very different, actually. It's
very different. A little more
keyboard started taking over more.
Yeah, John Paul Jones did a lot of writing on this one.
I'm kind of wondering. I always wonder what direction they would have taken had John Bonham not passed away. Would they have gone more commercial direction? Or?
Well, Robert Plant stuff certainly did.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
All right, so on here, highlights for me, just because I went on about the covers. In the Evening is one of my favorite Zeppelin songs ever. There's not a bad song on here. Fool in the Rain was a big hit. All of My Love's a big hit. You still hear it. Carousel Alhambra was this massive, like 12-minute track, something like that. John Paul Jones wrote it, very keyboard oriented, but great music. Hot Dog's kind of got a country edge to it.
Oh, I love the Hot Dog though. It's just a fun song.
It's just this kind of writing there's so much depth in it.
They were definitely getting away from what was then called heavy metal on that record.
Yeah, but this got its moments still.
And I think a lot of bands were in '79. A lot of the bands had been around a long time, like Led Zeppelin and Kiss. And they were trying to get away from that heavy metal tag because it was becoming a dirty word at the time.
Right.
And funny thing is, Zeppelin still shies away from that word. So.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely the roots. It's kind of like people say, Sabbath wasn't really a doom band. Well, yes and no.
No, they weren't a doom band, but they were definitely the roots of doom.
Yeah, and you can't really completely separate them from it.
Exactly. All right, so getting on with it.
Yep.
American Heavy Metal, Riot, NARITA.
Awesome album.
Awesome album. This is one of the most underrated records in the world, if you ask me. Riot were one of the most underrated bands in the world. How they did not become huge off of this record alone is a mystery.
They tried like hell.
And they sure did, and they were definitely worthy of it. I mean, nobody sounded like this in '78, '79. Nobody sounded like Riot. I mean, then there's tons of bands that follow that did.
Yeah. There's a cool cover of Born to Be Wild on that I remember at the time really digging. One of many, but it's one of the better ones. But my favorite cut on this is the title track, the instrumental NARITA.
Yeah, there's
awesome.
And Road Racing.
Road Racing's cool too.
Ultimate almost did a cover of that song.
People kind of again, I'm going to go into the artwork. I
Johnny?
guess that's my...
People don't like Johnny, but I think Johnny's kind of...
His name's Johnny?
Johnny.
I've always known him as the Mighty Tior.
Tior. Johnny.
Because his RIOT was like an acronym, Tior.
Oh.
That's how I ever called him. But the thing about him is that people don't understand about even this cover artwork. I don't know how they got the baby seal guy as their mascot. I have no clue. But the cover is representing something that there's some kind of burial ground that some airport was built on in Japan, and it had to do with some kind of suffering that a bunch of people went through. I wish I had more of the story and it sounded more educated, but there is a point to this whole thing. I don't know how the seal guy in the sumo body came to be.
They do have some they're very odd album covers, yeah. But anyhow.
But it's not predictable.
It's a great record nonetheless. Yeah, definitely worth checking out.
All right, this probably should have been in my top 5, but...
And you know what, and I know I don't always include live albums in this top 20, but and unfortunately, because I only do 20, I had to leave out some great live records like Unleashed in the East.
Yep.
But
this was the only thing Queen did in '79, and I remember when I really get into Queen probably the year after this, and I remember the day I picked this up and just staring at the cover. Like, oh my God, this is massive. I mean, it is
massive. And you know what? They always say that live albums are an end of an era, and that was definitely an end of an era record for Queen.
And after that, another one began, for sure. Yeah. A totally different one.
Yeah. But the sound changed. The sound changed hugely after that.
Because on this, I mean,
there was no doubt that although Queen were definitely all over the map, you know, and they were very progressive, and they did a lot of experimenting. They were definitely what was called heavy metal in the 70s.
Oh yeah, they could be as heavy as they wanted, and they could be as not heavy as they wanted.
Yeah. That was a nice thing about 70s music, though.
One of those classic 70s double live record albums that just takes you on a journey from start to finish.
Oh yeah, and it's the gatefold's cool too. You should open up the gatefold.
I forgot about that. It's just massive collage with all kinds of cool pictures. You just stare at it for hours.
Yeah.
And some of the pictures are like, huh? like Freddie riding on Mr. Muscle's shoulders, and you know, back then I was like 12. I didn't know Freddie was gay. So it's like, why is he doing that? And why is he so skinny? And why is he in bare feet? And why does he look so weird?
I always thought this guy looked like Halford right there.
Yeah, and Halford probably took his cue from him. But yeah, this is a great album. Some highlights. It's got the hard rockin' version of We Will Rock You, the one that's full band. They actually do Bohemian Rhapsody on here, and I mean, what other band does this anymore? They left the stage and played the tape for the operatic middle part, and then came back out and finished up the song. I mean, nobody gets away with that anymore. It's a great album. The Spread Your Wings, the live version, is awesome. Brighton Rock has a massive guitar solo in it.
It's just a great record.
It is.
And it captured that raw energy that you can't capture in the studio. And I think a lot of 70s bands had that, you know. There's Lizzy Live and Dangerous, perfect example.
Yep.
Or even Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East.
Too?
No, that was 77.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, damn.
77, 78. Yeah, no, that one was in one of my previous...
Also one of the last records I remember hearing cuss words beeped out on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't... I mean, that changed, but... So it's kind of cool.
All right, so we're getting down to the bottom of the barrel here, but still great stuff. Here we got New Wave of British Heavy Metal, Saxon, their debut.
Yeah.
Again, a little different from what would follow, much like the Accept one. No huge songs on here, but we got Stallions of the Highway.
That's my favorite.
Rainbow Theme, Frozen Rainbow, Big Teaser, Judgment Day. Big Teaser was one of those songs that they were playing live a lot, and then they extend that thing out all kinds of crazy.
And it was one of their goofier songs.
Yeah, it's a goofy song, exactly. So yeah, but it's still a great record, and I always love the back cover with it. A lot of those New Wave British heavy metal bands had those crazy concert shots, which I always loved.
Yeah, and they're wearing the striped spandex. It just could have been Iron Maiden up there too.
It looks just like Maiden. It really could have been, the back cover of Iron Maiden's first album.
And the cover's classic. I mean, again, it's it's
Metal Warrior
before it was completely overdone, and it's still kind of goofy looking, but it's also awesome looking. And the logo's classic. So,
and the logo stayed to this day. Yeah. So.
All right, here's a big one. This was a huge album for me in '79 because it was one of... I mean, I already was a Kiss fan. I had been a Kiss fan for 3 or 4 years already. Dynasty. Very much a departure for Kiss. I mean, the hit single was a disco song, so I didn't care. It was Kiss. Well, this has got some goodies in it.
Yeah, I remember reading that, Paul Stanley almost wrote that song as a joke, but...
I still love it.
I don't know whether he did or not. I don't care. I love the song.
He can't hit those middle notes anymore in the middle part. I can. I never could. But okay, a couple of things. Let's see. I love the whole album because I was a kid and Kiss was all I knew. So every song was gold to me. I can't really... My favorites, Hard Times because it was Ace, Save Your Love because it was Ace,
Yep.
Sure Know Something.
Great song.
Awesome. 2000 Man's
I always thought Charisma
Kick-Ass.
was great too.
Charisma is cool. Charisma and X-Ray Eyes. Gene kind of had 2 character songs on this one.
Yeah.
Love it. And the other thing they introduced on here was like every member, well, they started on the solo albums, but every member kind of started having colors associated with their faces too.
Ace had the blue.
Ace had the blue, Peter
Peter
had the green. You can't see it as
Gene's
much with
red.
Paul and Gene, but
Yeah.
Paul had the purple thing going and Gene had the red. But, you know, you can see it. The makeup for Peter and Ace changed. Insert.
Yep.
The order form, obligatory. Those have become just as collectible. All kinds of... And this is the first time I actually ordered some stuff. I ordered, I think, the magazine and something.
I ordered some stuff from the year before, and I actually sent a bunch of change in it. I'm surprised it actually got there.
And did it take...
I was a
yes,
kid.
this is what they ordered. Kiss Me's the Phantom of the Park magazine.
Yeah.
And there was something else, but it took forever.
Right, 6 to 8 weeks,
Yeah,
like that.
and
yeah.
it was more on the side of 8.
But I remember when I mailed it off, I mailed it like dollar bills and change and the whole thing in the freaking envelope.
That's
and I actually got it. They sent it. So to their credit, I mean, they could have ripped the little kid off, you know. But
Yep, and it's got an ad for the Kiss pinball machine, which is also kind of a big
and that
deal
thing had a
back
massive poster in it too.
then. Yep, it did. Also, the Kiss
inner sleeve.
neon inner sleeve. Kiss, I've got all the crap.
And then it had the custom label,
Oops.
which I can show
Yeah,
that way.
custom label.
Yeah.
Which is just a smaller version of. This is like the third time I had all these. I've had all these inserts and stuff in my collection 2 other times and had gotten rid of them for whatever reason and had to get them all back.
I always loved the poster. I actually kind of like the poster better than the actual album cover.
Yeah, it
You know what
is.
always bugged me about the album cover was Peter's makeup's crooked.
It is? To look at that. Now
Yeah.
it's going to bug me.
Yeah, one side.
It is crooked.
It is crooked. See?
It's because he was hammered.
He probably was.
I mean, he was taking his medicine.
Yeah.
Our younger viewers.
Medicine. All right, right on. So we're moving on. So this is not
Speaking
a
of-
40-minute video.
That's true. But have you ever watched the Tom Snyder interview?
Yes, yes, yes. Hilarious.
Peter and Ace are so lit.
But it's so great. And
Because they're totally taken over from Gene and Paul.
and Gene's just getting
laughing,
pissed and pissed.
And Tom's loving it. He's eating it up.
Yep.
And they're saying stuff, and you can see Gene and Paul like getting their digs in, like, don't
Yeah.
say that. Is the best. But
Space Bear, right? Is that the one?
yes.
Yes.
And Ace is just on a roll.
Oh, he's hilarious, man. And then he's talking about being the plumber.
Yes. It's like he was just lit.
So, I can't remember what the guy said, something about going backstage and checking the pipes. He's like, I bet you want to. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tom he played right along with all of it.
He
That
did.
was great. It's a cool interview.
All right, so sticking with
And it was
this.
right around this time. Because they were wearing the Dynasty costume.
Yes,
so it was
exactly.
right around
It was
79.
Dynasty, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely Dynasty time. Because, yeah, he had those big things that he put on the bear. Yep.
Yes, that's
So,
right.
all right, anyhow. So, definitely a first wave of British heavy metal band, UFO.
Hell yeah.
And this is, like I said with the Queen, end of an era. And this was the end of an era for UFO as well. And Randy, this is Randy's collection we're showing rather than my own since I'm here. And he actually has 2 different versions of this. You can see the different
Yeah, mine's
colors UFO.
The red one was the US version. I think this is probably UK.
Yeah.
It's got UFO logo in yellow, and it's got
Strangers
Strangers
in
in
the
the
Night.
Night's written up
Up
here.
here,
It
yeah.
says double live album over here. And
But yeah,
just
this
in
is,
different
it's not a full
positions.
concert. This one's actually, I think it was all recorded in one place, but it's not the full show. The CD version of this actually replaces the missing songs, so you get the entire show in the correct
cool.
order, which I thought was really cool.
And Phil Mog's pretty funny on this.
Phil Mog's
He
always
makes some
funny.
good-
Yeah,
some
his
good
in-between
jokes.
banter is sometimes as entertaining as the the music itself. But yeah, I mean, this is just a great record. Everything on here is just fantastic. And like I said, end of an era though. Last record for Schenker.
That's right, it was.
Yep, last record for Schenker.
And
so.
then came the Chapman years, which I personally love just as much as
I do love
Schenker
the
years.
Chapman years
They're
too, yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so we're getting down to the wire here. This is number 6. This is Whitesnake. Love Hunter.
Oh, that's not 6, dude. It's like 8.
Oh,
I've
okay.
got
8.
7 and 6 right here.
Okay, so whatever. Never mind. Well, Whitesnake. I'm gonna keep this one shorter just because we're yammering on here a lot. But Whitesnake, Love Hunter, classic British hard rock. Definitely has a bluesy vibe.
You gave him a shot of the cover, right?
Of course.
Like best
David-
ass ever painted on a cover
Yep.
ever.
David Coverdale, great voice. But this also had was it Neil Murray or John Lord on here?
There was Ian Pace too. There's 3 Purple members on. Oh no, Ian Pace wasn't on that
Nope.
one.
Mickey Moody was, of course, he was at the band the whole time. But John Lord and Neil Murray.
Yeah, I mean Mickey Moody and Bernie Marsden. That was a different Whitesnake from the Whitesnake that everybody else knows.
Yeah, from like 1986, 83, 84,
so much
86.
more bluesy.
And I really enjoy that stuff. Actually, I enjoy it better than the other stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Anyhow, moving on.
All right, we've got another double cover here. Give Scott the X-rated one. Scorpions, Love Drive. This is the cover you probably know better because it was the
cover.
Safe for Church Youth Group cover.
And then you had the European cover, which showed a breast.
Europeans are obsessed with breasts, but not so much as we are because we're afraid of them.
Was this the first album without Yuli? I think it was, right?
I believe.
Or was it the second? Am I mixing them up?
Which came first, Animal Magnetism or Love Drive? I think it was this
Love Drive, yeah.
Okay.
So this was the first album without Yuli Roth.
And coincidentally, it's also features Michael Schenker playing guest, and it was his last year in UFO.
Right.
Coincidence?
But Roth,
Awesome,
Roth wanted to go off doing his Hendrix trip, and so he actually quit. And people thought the Scorpions were going to be dead.
Was there a heavier album from the Scorpions than this?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean, as far as like, without a sense of like a lot of corniness, this is probably their heaviest album for that period. Definitely. I mean, Another Piece of Meat was like the heaviest thing at the time before I heard Accept.
Oh, and then there's the Holiday, the ballad on here.
Yep.
I've listened to that song a million times.
Can't get enough.
I don't know, there was something about that one, man. Especially when I was in college and away from my girlfriend at the time, man, that song just like ripped my heart out.
There's not a bad song on here. It's a great album.
Great album.
Classic Scorpions for the later years, like the beginning of the later years.
I think you got the next one?
Yep, one more over here. Oh, well, this was pretty heavy. Classic. Van Halen 2.
I love Van Halen 2. I love Van Halen 1 too.
A little more commercial.
Van Halen 1 is just overplayed.
Yeah,
You've heard it a million times.
And this had some good songs on it and some really heavy ones. Like it had Dance the Night Away, which everyone knows, and that's a great lovey-dovey song. But it's got DOA on here, which is totally heavy.
Yeah.
Light Up the Sky is totally heavy. I mean, Out of Love, again, it's great. And on the back, you get just kick-ass photography and a cool little story about this picture is the split that David Lee Roth is doing, the jump. It was the final one because he came down and broke his ankle after that. And
oh, that's the one that came with the poster, right?
well, no, it's got the picture insert, and there's a picture of Dave.
With the poster, that was the follow-up and had the picture of
Dave with his foot wrapped because he broke it. Little story.
Which one came with the poster? Was Women and Children First,
which I have.
I have that one too. That poster is awful.
I hung it in my room when I was a teenager. I would not hang it now. It's a bit more teenage girl focused. It's David with no shirt on, chained to a
chained to a fence or something like that. Yeah. All right, so now we're down to the top 5. So this is going to be no surprise for anybody who watches my channel, but honestly, I love this record, Aerosmith, Night in the Ruts. This was the last album for Joe Perry.
He didn't even play on all of it, did he?
He didn't play on all of it, but he played on some of it. And I remember reading an interview with Joe where he was surprised they left his tracks because they thought he was going to be recorded.
So was Jimmy Crespo the remainder?
So Jimmy Crespo played some stuff on here, and Brad Whitford played a lot on here too.
Okay, and Brad was a great guitar player.
And Brad was still in the band at this point. He had not quit yet, so
he doesn't get nearly the credit I think that Joe does because he's not as flashy, but he's probably a better player.
Yeah, well, I've heard Joe Perry say that.
Yep.
But anyhow, this has got some heavy stuff. This album is definitely as heavy as rocks. Of course, it has "Walking in the Sand," which is the
commercial cover. It's got Kings and Queens.
No. That's not on this one. That was Draw the Line.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
But it's got
my bad.
It's got No Surprise.
Awesome.
That's a heavy song.
Yeah.
And that's a song about the band. I mean, it's about their history.
And two of my favorites, Chiquita and Cheesecake.
Cheesecake, 3 Mile Smile.
And there's some heavy blues stuff on here. Reefer Head Woman. Really cool.
I always thought it was Reefer Headed Woman, but it's Reefer Head Woman. Is it? Yeah, Reefer Head Woman. Reefer Head Woman. That's the way the song is? Yeah.
DTC's used to play it.
It's a great song.
We had a blast with it.
Anyhow, Aerosmith, 1979.
Night in the Ruts. Or
no surprise that it's on my top 5.
More cheekily known as Right in the Nuts.
Yep. Which is right in the back right there.
Yep.
When I was in high school, I painted a big mural in the high school, and it was supposed to be a high school thing, but I painted a t-shirt on one of the guys, and I had him wearing the Aerosmith Night in the Ruts shirt, and I put the R in the nuts, and it left
right
like
in
that.
the nuts.
Right in the nuts. And nobody ever noticed it. High school. Here you go.
Such a metalhead. All right.
Number 4.
Thin Lizzy, Black Rose. I mean, what a killer album. Gary Moore returns to the fold for a full album. Thing I heard about Gary was he left the band because it was just too much partying and drugs and drinking. And, you know, now that we know a lot of stories we didn't know back then, it's true. And we know why Phil died as young as he did. Awesome album. I mean, obviously the title track is epic.
That whole album is epic.
Yeah.
It's just a great record.
My favorites, Got to Give It Up is one of my all-time favorites.
Got to Give It Up.
Love it. Get Out of Here's awesome. Do Anything You Want To, Toughest Street in Town, S&M, Waiting for an Alibi, My Sarah. Just killer. Jim Fitzpatrick again doing the artwork.
Oh, it's a killer cover.
Yeah, totally.
The blood on their Black Rose. Yeah.
Very cool. Love this album.
Indeed. All right, so now we're down to our top 3 records. And definitely one of the heaviest albums to ever come out in the 1970s. Judas Priest, Hell Bent for Leather.
Yep.
And this was...
dynamic as hell.
Oh my goodness, this album just blew me away when I was a kid. And I remember hearing Burn It Up the first time going, oh my god, you can't get any heavier than that. And
I still can't get enough of like Evening Star. I love that song.
And then what was the album was called in Europe? It was called something different.
It was called Killing Machine because the title track Hell Bent for Leather was not
on it. Right. Yeah. Which is a shame because it's a great freaking song.
I have Killing Machine.
Do you?
You didn't grab it. Oh,
I grab it.
I have that one too. It looks just like this, except it says
Killing Machine. Exactly.
Yeah.
Great record. I can't say enough good stuff about this one. Awesome. It is re-released this one on audio fidelity releases as well, so which I really like to get because I love this record. So.
Probably top 2 Priest for me.
Definitely top 2 Priest for me.
Yep.
And it's just hard to believe that's the 70s. Because, I mean, that was like the prototypical formula for the 80s.
Yeah.
So, all right, so this one here, we couldn't
we
decide between the two of us. So,
we
Motorhead released 2 albums in 79, and we went with Overkill and Bomber. I chose Overkill.
That's his favorite. Bomber was my favorite. So that's what you hear playing in the background.
But you got Overkill, Stay Clean. I Want to Be. I Won't Pay Your Price. I'll Be Your Sister. Capricorn. No Class. I mean, this reads like Overkill's greatest hits right here.
Yep.
Damage Case, Tear You Down, Metropolis, and Limb from Limb. There's not a song on here that doesn't say Motorhead. I mean, this is Motorhead right here.
And this is oh, mine's a promo. I didn't notice that till just now. I love every song in this. This is the first Motorhead I ever got. So it's
promo 2, by the way.
Oh, where did I get these? I must have gotten them from the same guy.
Pretty cool.
I don't remember. Not your more typical Motorhead tracks, but it's imprinted on me because it was my first. I heard the Ace of Spades single. I love Motorhead. I went and got Bomber. So Dead Men Tell No Tales, Lawman, Sweet Revenge, Sharpshooter, Poison, Stone Dead Forever, and all the Aces. Those are pretty much, you know, Motorhead standards. Step Down, which Fast Eddie Clark sang on, which is cool. Talking Head and Bomber, which of course that was an early hit for them. Really, their focus until the Bomber was their lighting rig
and everything. Yeah.
Until Ace of Spades came along, I mean, Bomber was the shit, the one.
Exactly. So yeah, you got 2. So then we got 1 more to go. This is our last one. And
this is number 1?
This is number 1. And we both agreed on number 1 here, and surprisingly,
a couple different reasons.
For me, it's not, you know, not Kiss, not Ted Nugent, not Aerosmith, but this one definitely deserves to be up there.
Highway to Hell.
AC/DC, Highway to Hell.
Bon Scott's last one. Here we got the Australian version. It's kind of cool. A little different. All the songs are the same. The back cover's the same. Just the covers, it's like painted over and it's got a little bit different.
And there's the US version. Yeah. Actually, the back cover's a little different. A little different, just a different color.
Oh, yeah.
Blue, this one's white. Yeah. But I mean, come on. The title track, I'm sick of the death of it. I mean,
yeah, but it's a classic. It's a standard now.
Yeah, it is. But I tend to put the CD on and skip that track, and then
just bored of it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the album is,
oh my goodness, Girls Got a Rhythm, Walk All Over You, Touch Too Much, Beating the Bush, Shut Down in Flames. I mean, come on, this album is just
Get It Hot If You Want Blood, Love Hungry Man, Nightcrawler's awesome. So Bon's last album with him. He died shortly after it came out.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, wow.
Sad story
what
there,
a final
too.
Statement.
Sad how many of these guys have recorded these albums that are in the top 20 are now gone.
That's true.
You know, Phil Lynott, Samson, Roger Samson, you know, a lot of these guys are gone, so it's kind of sad. But anyhow, AC/DC.
We figured we both love the album, and the popular consensus would probably be the same. They'd hang us if we didn't put this number 1, we figured.
There you go.
So yeah, we're caving into the pressure of the commercial
Caving into
success.
peer pressure. Right on.
Is that it?
That's it. That's our top 20 plus from 1979. Cool. So that's about it. So
you should come back when we do 1989.
Yeah. Randy Trog. So check out his channel. I'll put a link below. He runs a label called
Stone Groove Records
and
a radio show called Stone Grooves and Deep Cuts. There are YouTube channels for both.
And I will put links to both below here. And this is Scott from NoLifeSubmittal.com signing off. So God bless. Stay strong.
Seizure.